sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Restore Christendom. I am Tommy.
Good evening, and I'm Emily. It's Wednesday, April 30th.
Yeah, that's how you say that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. For some reason, I was trying to remember what number 4 was.
It's April.
Yeah, it's April. It's been April for the last 30 days.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just now figuring out what month it is, though.
Nope. Every time I look at the date, I have to remember.
Okay.
That's just the way my brain works.
Okay.
But anyways, good evening, everybody. Hello. How are we doing tonight?
Good evening and welcome. So, as promised by Emily last week, she is going to, and I say she, I don't have much to do with this show. I will sit here and basically just make fun of her here and there, but it's pretty much an Emily show.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Emily's going to go over Saint Faustina with you guys because that's what she said she was going to do.
Well, yes, that and also Sunday was Divine Mercy Sunday, and if you missed this one, you have a whole year to prepare for the next one.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to pitch it to you.
All right, Emily's going to give you the pitch.
And then I'll remind you of it in October when her feast day comes back around. So you'll have 0 excuses for next year.
Yeah.
0. It'll be a conscious choice that you're not taking advantage of this opportunity being afforded to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I need to do the screen share one. Okay, cool. So she was born in 1905 in
One second, let me see all this.
She was born in 1905 in Poland. She is the third of 10 children. 10.
Ooh, 10.
10.
Well, they had a lot of Catholics had a lot of kids back then.
Yeah, they
They
did.
they still do.
I mean, yeah.
Not 10, but
Not-
you know.
I mean, there's some that do 10, but not very many.
I think most in our church is like 4 to 5, and there's a couple maybe 6s out there.
Yeah, there's a
I
few.
don't think I've seen more than there might be one that's like a 7. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That one family that all the boys are altar servers, they have one they have older children, like college age children.
Oh.
So they might be a 7 family.
Yeah, they could be because they're a 4 right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, how many older kids they got? I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, yeah. So she was a third of 10 children, born in Poland in 1905. When she was, I think it was like between like 7 and 10 years old, she had her first experience and calling towards like a consecrated life at a Eucharistic adoration situation.
Okay. I was at a Eucharistic adoration type situation today.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, yes, there was Eucharistic adoration, but then you also went to a mass.
Right. Well, I know. I went to mass and I always get there early to play my rosary, and they were doing adoration when I got there.
Well, sweet.
Yeah. So I got to see the closing of adoration, so I had time to pray a rosary before mass and had mass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
It was a good, yeah.
Yeah. It was works out well.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a good time.
Good evening, Rafe. How you doing, buddy?
Good evening, sir.
I
Welcome.
see that you have a guest tonight. At the end of our stream, we'll raid your stream.
Oh, is Rudy? Is that this week or is that last week?
Last week he had Rudy.
Oh.
This week it's a lady named Tiffany.
Okay.
Tiffany or Stephanie? I can't quite remember. But he has a lady guest on.
Oh, if it's going on their show, it's
And if it's
probably
neither
a
of
tranny.
those names, 1,000 apologies.
If they're going on that show, it's probably a tranny, so
Oh,
I wouldn't.
gosh. Well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Reef's usually pretty good about having men on or women on.
Kelly. You were wrong. It's Kelly.
No way.
Yes. It was-
1,000 apologies. Yeah, Reef's having this lady named Kelly on.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound like a tranny. It's probably okay.
Tiffany or Stephanie? Where did that come
Yeah, I don't know.
from? Okay. Yeah, she's a lady.
She's a lady.
Right.
Watch your mouth, we don't judge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So,
Oh, hold on.
no, you're fine. So at age 19,
Oh.
while at a dance with some of her sisters and siblings, and obviously other people are at the dance, she clearly hears Christ's call to her. How long will you put me off? She left the dance and went straight to a church and begged for guidance. With no money, no plan, and only a burning heart, Helena, her actual real name, went to Warsaw. There she knocked on convent doors, begging to be accepted. Most turned her away, until finally the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy opened their doors. And so in this situation, she was denied a lot of convents. They wouldn't accept her because she wasn't educated. She
Right.
couldn't read or write.
She had like a third grade education.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
couldn't like read or write. And all she had ever done is like housemaid type work. And even on her family farm, she was the breaker of dirt clods. So like when you're out there
That's
plowing.
a fancy title.
Oh yeah, it's a fancy title. You give your
I am breaker of dirt clods.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when her dad's out there plowing the field, her job is to go through and like break up the clods
Clumps of dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Makes sense. No, it's right in the name.
It's right in the name.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's what she spent a majority of her time doing. And then as she got a little bit older, she, kind of did some light housekeeping for
Yeah. No, she's a woman. Of course, she's a housekeeper.
Right, yeah. So
She's a
not
woman. She cooked, she cleaned, and she broke up dirt. Like
Right,
that's
hey,
what my wife does.
I was about to say that's basically what your wife does.
Yeah.
When the season's right. Okay, so she was kind of denied entry to a lot of those places because she wasn't qualified. You don't really have anything to offer us.
Right. Yeah. You
We-
can't read. You can't write. You can't. I
We're-
mean,
We're here to do service and like not that kind of service. So she ends up at the
Our Lady of Mercy.
Yep, Our Lady of Mercy. And I don't know if it says it here. I have it written in my notes.
She became, Helena became Sister Maria Faustina of the Blessed Sacrament. Her life in the convent was hidden and humble, cooking, cleaning, gardening. Okay, again,
Right, that's
my
basically
wife's
yeah.
life. It must be nice. No one could have guessed the extraordinary mission Christ was entrusting to her. So go ahead.
So when she actually goes to join the Sisters of Lady of Mercy, the mother of the house, mother whoever, she tells her, okay, well you can work here for like a year to earn the money to pay for your habit. And she was like, okay, great, that sounds fair, right? So she works and stays in the convent for like a year and goes back to mother whatever her name was and is like, okay, well it's been a year and I have my money. And she's like, who are you? What? Here's your money for your what are you talking about? And so she has to like explain to her the situation. Like, mother, you said if I worked for a year and then you'd take me in because I could pay for my habit. She was like, oh yeah, I guess I did say that. And so that's how she ends up getting in is this whole debacle of like, we don't really want you, but I guess if you could pay to be like, if you pay for the uniform, sure, expecting her not to be able to
Right.
do that, or just flippantly be like, oh well, I got told no, let me go find some man to marry.
Right.
Um, so that's how she ends up there.
Okay.
And she she's there, and it's in 1931 she gets her first vision. Um, does it say what the first one was?
Yeah. Grace will be heard there sometime. Oh no. Wait. No.
Okay.
It just says it began with visions in this thing.
Okay, yeah. It began with visions. Not everyone believes her. Some thought it was imaginary things. Some thought she was mentally ill. Even within her own convent, she faced skepticism, misunderstanding, and isolation. Uh, do, 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 do. The so at some point she's advised, or Jesus gives her direct advisement to keep records of what he's saying to her, and to share it with her priest. And so the priest and her are in on, keeping of the diary and sharing information. Um, and at that point, it's just the priest and Sister Faustina and the visions of Jesus that know about this. And then eventually it does get spread throughout the church. Um, but the main thing is her life within the convent was less than ideal, because you're the visions girl. You're the
Right. Yeah.
right. Nobody really you don't really have anything to offer us. You cook, you clean, you garden, and you get these miraculous visions,
Right. You
and
kind of
you're
snuck in the
somebody.
back door here,
Right,
and
yeah, you're somebody special, the dumb girl, the dumb dirt clod girl. So like that's not completely ideal. And then wouldn't you know it, because it's
hello.
the early 1900s, she has the tuberculosis.
The TBs.
Yeah, so she ends up passing away at 33. Um but in her diary uh, she's given the opportunity to experience hell, heaven, and purgatory, and she shares those writings in there. One of the things I wrote down to share with you guys, since not
Ooh.
everybody's gonna go look it up.
All right. Lay it on us.
Okay,
Big truth bomb. Here it comes.
the 7 tortures of hell.
The 7 tortures of hell.
Yeah, so this is what the layers are. So layer 1 is a loss of God. Layer 2 is perpetual remorse of conscience. Uh, Number 3 is one's condition will never change. Like that's the feeling you're stuck with, is like your condition will never change.
Right.
And then fourth stage, the fire that penetrates the soul without destroying it.
Okay.
That sounds uncomfy, to say the least.
Yeah.
So fourth stage. Fifth one is continual darkness and a terrible suffocating smell. That does not sound good.
No.
I want to not find myself there. Um, so the seventh layer is a constant company of Satan, horrible despair, hatred of God, um, surrounded by vile words and blasphemy. So that's the last one.
Right.
And that one sounds, like Portland on a Saturday night.
Right. Exactly. Surrounded by blasphemy.
Yeah,
So I just live in the 21st century then.
right. Right. Oh yeah, or India. Yes, Stacks, maybe. Could be onto something there. Yes.
Yeah.
You would be surrounded by the blasphemy.
Oh man. So what else we got here to talk about? The Saints Faustinas.
I think I had a video from Pope Francis talking about her.
I don't.
So
Right here.
she was formally canonized a saint in 2000.
Oh yeah, this is something about Francis talking. Okay. Well, I got it. It's a minute long. Want to play it?
Yeah.
All right, let me.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, rivolgo un cordiale saluto a tutti voi, romani e pellegrini. Particolare saluto i fedeli polacchi che sono qui davanti.
So you guys see the subtitles. I'll move us out of the way.
Oggi il mio pensiero va al santuario di Płock, in Polonia, dove 90 anni fa il Signore Gesù si manifestò a Santa Faustina Kowalska, affidandole uno speciale messaggio della Divina Misericordia. Mediante San Giovanni Paolo II quel messaggio è giunto al mondo intero e non è altro che il Vangelo di Gesù Cristo, morto e risorto, che ci dona la misericordia del Padre. Apriamogli il cuore dicendo con fede: Gesù, confido in te.
All right.
Hmm.
Let me move us back now.
Scoot.
There we are. And we're back. So yeah, there's Pope Francis talking about Saint Faustina a little bit.
The 90th anniversary of her revelation.
I was getting there.
Oh, sorry.
Calm down.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever.
Oh, no, I was kidding.
That's fine. It's, it's whatever. Take all the time you want.
I need time.
Wander your sentence around the block.
Yes. Hello, JC.
Hello. Good evening.
All right. Well, this isn't where I thought I was.
Nope.
There.
And there you go. That's where you would like to be.
So we did that and that, and then there's this one here.
Sure. Yeah, we could look at that one.
The 13 mystical messages Jesus revealed to Saint Faustina about his infinite mercy. I'm guessing I gotta open this up.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, below are the 13 messages Jesus presented to Saint Faustina as recorded in her diary. The graces of my mercy are drawn by means of one vessel only, and that is trust. The more a soul trusts, the more it will receive. The second one, a pure soul has inconceivable power before God. The third, the prayer of a humble and loving soul disarms the anger of my Father and draws down an ocean of blessings. Pure love gives the soul strength at the very moment of dying. When I was dying on the cross, I was not thinking about myself, but about poor sinners, and I prayed for them to my Father. When the priest acts in my place, he does not act of himself, but I act through him. His wishes are mine. Jesus speaking of the sacrament of confession. The sixth one, although my greatness is beyond understanding, I commune only with those who are little. I demand of you a childlike spirit. The seventh, when you are obedient, I take away your weakness and replace it with my strength. I am very surprised that souls do not want to make that exchange with me. The eighth, even if the sins of the souls were as dark as night, when the sinner turns to my mercy, he gives me the greatest praise, and is the glory of my passion. When a soul extols my goodness, Satan trembles before it and flees to the very bottom of hell. The ninth one, as often as you hear the clock strike the third hour, immerse yourself completely in my mercy, adoring and glorifying it, invoke its omnipotence for the whole world, and particularly for poor sinners. For at that moment, mercy was open wide for every soul. In this hour, you can obtain everything for yourself and for others, for the asking. It was the hour of grace for the whole world. Mercy triumphed over justice. The 10th promise is the greater the sinner, the greater the right he has to my mercy. My mercy is confirmed in every work of my hands. He who trusts in my mercy will not perish, for all his affairs are mine, and his enemies will be shattered at the base of my footstool. The 11th, if your trust is great, then my generosity will be without limit. The 12th, there are few souls who contemplate my passion with true feeling. I give great graces to souls who meditate devoutly on my passion. And the 13th one, say unceasingly the chaplet that I have taught you. Whoever will recite it will receive great mercy at the hour of death. Priests will recommend it to sinners as their last hope of salvation. Even if there were a sinner most hardened, if he were to recite this chaplet only once, he would receive grace from my infinite mercy. And I desire that the whole world know my infinite mercy. I desire to grant unimaginable graces to those souls who trust in my mercy.
All right.
And those are the 13 what are they called? 13, yeah.
Let's see. What's going on here? I don't know.
The 13 promises. Sorry. I was trying to figure out if it was a different P word.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was messing around with the
Very good.
other screen. It was acting up. Sweet. So do you have anything else to cover on Saint Faustina or?
Oh, my Lord. I'll have another. Okay, so there was one other thing. So her first, this all starts in 1931. February 22nd, 1931.
Okay.
Let's hop in the time machine or crack open the history book. What was the global political and economic climate in 1931, class?
It really depends on what part of the world you lived in.
Was it Green Acres is the place to be, or was it kind of rough all around?
Depends on what part of the world you were in.
Okay, well, my history book says that it was kind of rough all around.
For the most part, in places like America and definitely
Europe.
Germany. Not all of Europe, but definitely Germany.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's Polish.
Right.
So, but as a
Yeah,
whole,
things have never been great in Poland.
yeah, as a whole, the world wasn't doing so great in the 30s. And also a lot of things that happened in the early 30s were not good. A lot the different people who came into power, the different wars that were started, the ones that came after that, like it's not been super great.
Yeah.
So I think that it was the perfect time for something like this to present itself to a society of Christians. Um, I, I've been suggesting people do it. I'm going to continue suggesting people do it. You don't have to be Catholic to recite it. It's easier because you already have a rosary, but it's, five sets of 10. If you can keep track of your sets at the gym, you can keep track of sets of prayers.
Right. Yeah.
So, um, it's, it's a good one to do and like genuinely meditate on it and sit in the fact that, he is a merciful God and that all we have to do is like ask for it and acknowledge that we have received it. So, if we all did that, I think
What's that?
we'd
Pray the Chapel of Divine Mercy. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you mention it.
I said that I've told you guys to pray this before and I'm
Yeah, but I
going to
don't remember
continue
actually.
mentioning it.
Yes, but I
I'm
hear
assuming
the
that they
name.
have an attention span and they can
I'm
keep
just saying.
together
I'm
conversations.
just saying.
Good evening, Spellbound.
Hello. Yes, the Chaplet of Divine Mercy is what she is talking about. Pray
Yeah.
the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. The novena. You
Yeah.
should give that a shot too.
It's
It's a
that one
quick.
was pretty nice.
Yeah, it's 9 days. You say a short prayer every day.
And you could end it and start it over again if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You could just pray it forever. But yeah, it was a prayer that was given to us in the 1930s. We didn't take full advantage of it, so then we suffered. And, it's been a while, 90 something years of just kind of suffering our way through it. So maybe, crazy idea, more people start praying the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, and maybe some hearts will change.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe some behavior will change. Mm. If we've tried everything else. All right, your
Yeah.
turn. Your show now.
No, it's still your show. You still had something else you wanted to talk about too. I saw this today, and this is only going to take 2 seconds, but I saw this today, and it made me chuckle.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to show it. If I can get to showing it. So this post here, it's what's happening is cardinals who speak different languages will be sequestered in the conclave. How do they communicate with each other with no interpreter? And it's funny because, as Dr. Taylor Marshall points out here, if only there was one shared church language that all priests learned in seminary.
Yeah.
If only maybe everybody had learned Latin for 2,000 years, so that we could avoid things like this in a world church.
Yeah.
The Latin is the universal language of the
Universal
church.
language. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the universal language of the church. Always has been up until the 1970s.
Right. When they started labeling it a dead
Yes,
language.
it was one of the things. To be a seminarian, you had to learn Latin.
Yeah.
Why is this thing acting up?
Oh, because Evie Mux is
Yeah, either way.
bratty.
Yeah, either way, I just wanted to share that because I thought it was funny that here we are after almost 2,000 years of to be a priest, you had to speak Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was the universal language of the church, and that is how a worldwide church communicates with each other. We're all over the world. We all speak different languages. Oh, hey, guess what? We all speak Latin, though.
Right. Yeah. The papal bulls and the encyclicals don't come out in Latin for fun.
Yeah. So
no, you can't do that. That's a sin. That's
it's
a
a
mortal
sin.
sin.
It's excommunication.
And if you really want to get technical with it, some of the sports betting is borderline mortal sinful. Like if you're betting on it and somebody happens to die in that boxing match,
Right. Yeah.
or if you're betting on that football game and somebody gets clipped and ends up a paraplegic.
Although the priest at mass today, at the end of mass, said he predicted our next pope will be Gregory the 17th.
Who the heck is that? Is that the name that the new
Pope's
pope
gonna
is
choose?
gonna
Yes.
choose? Oh, okay.
So it's been a while since we had a Gregory. It's gonna be Gregory the 17th.
Okay.
Highly doubtful, but
I don't know.
we'll see.
As long as it's not Pope Braden Jackson III, I'll be fine.
As long as it's not Francis II, I'll be okay. Even if it is Francis II, I'm still gonna just continue to be a Catholic, a normal Catholic, and not pay attention to heresies that come from the Vatican like I did the last papacy.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
But at the end of the day, like I always say, no doctrine was changed, no dogmas were changed. It's just things were said confusing.
Yeah.
Things were said in non-official ways, in non-official circumstances.
We all have, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to make a blanket statement here, but we all have that like really old family member that just ain't with the times, but really wants to be nice. And that's what we had with Francis
Right.
in a big, big way. It's like great grandma or great uncle so and so, great maybe.
Just in the reverse, though, instead of them saying the things that are inappropriate nowadays, they were saying the things that are appropriate in the culture nowadays, but are
Right,
inappropriate in the church.
Yeah. They just want the the younger people in the family to still invite them to the things and still consider me on the guest list. Don't forget about me just because I'm old and curmudgeonly.
Yeah. As nice as it would be, Dan, I don't think Syrah has any real chance in the conclave. I don't. My hope would be for Pizza Balla, to be honest with you, but I don't know how realistic that is either.
I didn't bookmark it, but the Philippines consecrated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus recently.
Yes, I saw that.
So I think if there's a Yeah, Tyler says he's saying the Filipino. I think that that might be an interesting move. But I also I I don't know what goggles to put on to look at this situation from. If I'm looking at it from the political, how they run campaigns and who ends up where lens, then yeah, for sure it's going to be the Filipino, or someone from the Philippines. But not only for the geopolitical pull and
Oh
stature, but
yeah. What's his name? Tagley.
I don't even
Tagley.
know who it is.
I was saying Tagle the other day, but I
Oh,
believe it's
okay,
pronounced Tagley.
Tagley. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's the TikTok cardinal.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the one that does the stupid thing. He'd be Francis. He'd be his Francis II.
well,
I really
again,
hope not. I
if I'm
really
if
hope
I'm
not.
using my geopolitical goggles and I have those on, I would say that that probably puts them over the edge.
Yeah, I don't want it to be Parolin, and I don't think it will be, mainly because Cardinal Zen is at the conclave right now,
Mhm.
and he got screwed so bad by Parolin. And those of you guys that don't know, so Pope Francis and Cardinal Parolin, went behind Cardinal Zen's back, because Cardinal Zen is a Chinese cardinal,
Mhm.
and made a deal with the Chinese government that the Chinese Communist Party can elect the bishops in China. They can appoint them. Not the church, but the Communist Party can appoint the bishops in China.
That's not how
And
that
then
goes.
shortly after that, Cardinal Zen was put under house arrest by the Communist Party, and he's been on house arrest since. And I don't know how he got his passport and got permission from China to go to the conclave, but he's there, and he's making sure that every cardinal is aware of what happened and how they basically turned their back on the Catholic Church and gave the Communist Party all the power and this and that. So I think that hurts Parolin's chances. I think he was pretty much guaranteed the next Pope, Francis II.
Mhm.
But with Zen there, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of these, and that's
The man that you directly wronged is here.
well, that's also the kind of the sneaky thing. People call it the sneaky thing. I don't. I hate to attribute malice to it, not knowing.
Mhm.
But what Francis did is not all the cardinals Francis appointed are like super liberal like him. Um, but he appointed cardinals in really just obscure places far away from each other, and then didn't let the cardinals come together yearly like they used to. So there's these cardinals that are now out on the fringes, and none of them know each other.
Oh.
So the school of thought that a lot of people are saying is it was intended so that when these people came in, nobody knew anybody, and the Vatican insiders like the Parolins and the stuff could basically just say, "Oh, here's the guy you need to vote for Pope.
Yep.
Don't worry,"
Yep.
and that's why they wanted the conclave sooner. They were
Okay.
pushing for like the fourth, and the Cardinals were like, "No, we're pushing it to the seventh, the last day humanly possible,"
Yeah.
because they wanted enough time for all these Cardinals to get together and actually have conversations and you know what I mean?
Get a feel for
Yeah, for
be
who
filled
people
in
are.
on
Yeah,
what information
on
is
who
what.
each person is and what they stand for and this and that.
Why is everybody on this guy's side,
Yeah.
on this guy's team? Why
So
was everybody on this one, that one? Okay.
yeah, so that's the thinking is Francis didn't necessarily make the most liberal bishops to guarantee his successor, but more or less because I guess maybe the numbers weren't there. He picked people that thought could be manipulated, maybe,
Mhm.
or people that were just not as well informed
Right.
from really far out places.
Some go along to get along.
Yep, from
types.
far out places. So when they showed up to a conclave,
And they have actual
the
things to do at
Bergoglians
home.
could say, "Oh yeah, you don't worry about it, just vote for this guy," and then they have the conclave as soon as humanly possible, and everybody votes for this guy. But that is not what's happening. And then with Zen showing up, it just kind of, oof, yeah, it put a big roadblock in the way of Parolin. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, you can only get away with something for so long.
Yeah. So, the
ruse always comes to an end.
As long as it's not Pope Tyrone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's not that.
Yeah, I like the name Pizza Balla too. It's a shame when if he becomes Pope, it'll most likely be Benedict XVII. It won't be Pope Pizza Balla, although I'll probably still call him Pope Pizza Balla because that sounds cool.
My only reservation about Syrah is I don't know that would be a long pontificate.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. And that's one of the other
And I
things.
don't want that for Sirah. I want, a long life.
Yeah. I don't
I would
know if
rather have him on the outside than at the top of
Yeah.
it to be
I-
not here.
I don't know if any of their cardinals are Jesuits. I'm not really up to date on a lot of that stuff.
I don't know, but that would be worth looking at because, we definitely don't want another one of those.
Yeah, because like I was saying yesterday on my show, I think that the Catholic Church as a whole needs to be steered slowly
Mm-hmm.
back towards the same direction. Some of these charismatics and Franciscans have taken things a bit too far.
Yeah.
I think they need to be slowly brought back to a valid, sacred,
A more reverent.
reverent mass, and but it's not going to be a come in and just ban the Novus Ordo and
Yeah, you can't.
make it Latin mass and see no,
You can't do that.
that's why I like somebody like Pizzaballa. He's very traditionally minded in the liturgy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could probably call him a moderate on other things, but he would definitely just uphold the norms of the church.
Right.
You wouldn't have any crazy things.
No
You'd have
new
to
stuff.
You wouldn't have to defend anything he said in public. You're not gonna have to worry about him saying anything ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he would be just a solid Catholic choice, kind of middle of the road. But he's young, so he'd have 30 years to really steer the liturgy back to where it needs to be.
Right.
Now, whether that means eventually getting rid of the Novus Ordo altogether or making it
I mean, in 30
what
years.
it should be. Yeah, no.
Sure.
Yeah,
In
why not?
20 years? Sure. We could definitely.
Yeah,
if
but
you
we'll see.
walk us
Although,
there.
like I said, if done the right way, I don't see the problem with offering Catholics a mass in the vernacular
No.
if it's done properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say get rid of it altogether because I think again at the end of the day it would do more harm than good.
Right.
I think having Novus Ordo done extremely reverently with some changes to make it a proper mass.
Mm-hmm.
And still offer that to the people that want a mass in the vernacular, and then have the traditional mass for anybody else who wants it, and make sure that, and you have to have that mass said at every church and every parish, at least one. I mean, most parishes have 3 masses. One of them should be
One
a
of them
TLM.
should be, yeah.
In reality, it should be 2 TLMs and a Novus Ordo.
As you were saying that, I was thinking like the Advent services when there was the little asterisk of the one service we will have.
Yeah.
And ideally in the future, it's the asterisk is for the Novus Ordo-y
Yeah.
one. Like this is where
This is where
your normal.
This is where I'm Catholic, but I don't want to be too Catholic people go.
Right, yeah.
This is where I don't want to go to hell, but I don't want to get too involved in my religion either.
Right.
This is where this is for you people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that'll save you from hell, but
No, but it's and this is the thing that I've begun to notice about the charismatics is that
they want to be Pentecostals. They just don't want the sacraments too.
There's a lot of layers to it, but there's a way that what they want has been done traditionally.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a way that it's always been done, and your newfangled way of doing it is too much like the wrong thing that you left behind to be here.
Right.
So that's the redirection that the new pope needs to be willing to do, in my opinion.
Right. Show these people
that
this is the traditional way we did the thing
Right.
that you like to
Do
do.
you see all the ways that it's very much the same as what you're doing now?
Right.
And the very few things that you have to not do anymore are you things.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they're parts of it that are solely for you. It's
Right.
only you get a benefit from that. And
Right.
that stuff has
And that's
to
not what church is about. Church is about God, and you're
Right,
there
and
for
that
Him. You're
stuff
not there
has
for
to
you.
go. Yeah.
Yes, I agree 100%. Yes, anything that is human that you go to church so that you get something out of it, that needs to go. You're
Right.
not there for you. You were there for God.
Yeah.
So
And I think over the span of, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, you could retrain the already existing charismatics. And
yeah,
then
that's what I'm
in
saying.
the
That you'll
7
need
to 10.
you'll need much longer than that because there's the boomer class. You got at least 15 more years of the boomers that are just never going. You have to just honestly, if you don't want them to walk out of the church, which you don't want anybody to leave the church, you have to just kind of leave their option available to them
Mhm.
until that dies off. But you got to slowly be phasing it out so that when they're done, it's done.
It's not, yeah.
You got within 10 years, it's got to be such a small percentage of what's offered to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that you're
And then
not.
so by 15, 20 years, it's like you said, there's one mass a week
Oh, I can't
offered in
believe that
this.
thing's even still offered.
Yeah. Like within 15, 20 years, then your weekday masses will also be Latin. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just that one mass on Sunday that's a Novus Ordo. But like I said, it would take a long time because there's just certain people that are just not going to change at this point.
No.
It doesn't, they'll just leave the church. And it's really easy to say, fine, let them leave. Good riddance. They're not real Catholics anyway. But you don't.
But you don't want.
You don't
that.
want to. You don't want that. You don't.
No.
It's in charity. You want them to stay in the sacraments, and even though they can deal with God later on whether or not they did enough, or if they were not really Catholic. You know what I mean? That's not up to me to decide if they're real Catholics. If they're some of these people have good hearts.
Yeah.
And think they are really doing the right thing.
Yeah. They just get swept up in the moment, in the vibe of it all.
Well, it's like the Novus Ordo Church, and I can't remember who I heard say this. This is not an original thought of mine, people. The Novus Ordo Church is a time capsule.
Yeah.
It's like the Mass of the Ages, the traditional Mass is not. It is just as it is the same in the year 900 as it is in the year 2025.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It is, you know what I mean? It is the same beauty, the same reverence, the same heaven coming to earth kind of thing. The Novus Ordo is not. The Novus Ordo is a time capsule of the 70s. Everything about it screams 1970s to me. It is not. It is not modern. It is not with the times. And it's not to say the Mass has to be with the times, because the traditional Mass isn't with the times, but it's such a
it's very world facing.
It's such a perfect form of worship to God, intentionally. Like, this is how we always did it. Humankind has always done it this way, and it is timeless. It doesn't feel like from a time period. It's like, yes, this is today, this is yesterday, this is 1,000 years ago, this is
all of it. And
and whereas the Novus Ordo, it just feels like something from the 70s. It's a time capsule, which is why it really needs to go away with these people when the people from the 70s go away.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
it definitely is.
It's a nostalgia thing. That's one of the other reasons I think they'll never give it up. It's that it's like a 70s car. It's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
To them, it's like,
worthless, but they'll go broke saving it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the boomer mentality, man. It's worthless, but we'll go broke saving it.
Yeah.
We'll ruin the future of everybody on this planet to save this thing that we enjoy.
Yeah. Ambrosia salad. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, jokes.
So, yeah.
Make jokes.
So that's
everybody knows Waldorf salad's the bad one.
So that's our take on more of the conclave stuff. We weren't planning on talking about conclave, but
that's all right. It comes up.
Yeah, hey, we managed to make some points that I didn't get to yesterday, so hey,
there you go.
It's not like I was repeating myself.
Oh well. All right, I got one.
Oh, Emily's got one thing she wants to share here. And this is disgusting. If you have little children in the room, ask them to leave the room now, please.
Yeah, give them time to evacuate.
Right.
All right.
Okay, here we are. And
long drawn out sigh. Insert now.
Okay.
So I don't want to be wrong, but I think JC sent this to me. Or no. I found this on my own. So this is from Miss B Converted. She's sharing a New York Post post. Florida nurse caught by husband having relations, assaulting her 15-year-old stepson, and loses medical license. So Miss B, Bree Solstad, her takeaway, her words to go with this, is most won't consider it, but this is, and all the other recent incidents like it, are a direct result of the pornification of society, culture, adults, and children. And point number one I would like to make is the spirit of fornication.
Yeah, I would just like to point out, I definitely agree with her.
Yeah.
It's definitely one big angle of this.
Yeah.
The fact that more women watch porn nowadays than men, according to a lot of studies, And then also, it's what happens in a society where you feminize men and try to make women
This is
masculine.
so it's
We
the
know when you this
spirit
is
of fornication, and these are the fruits of women's liberation
yeah,
and equality.
you've broken women's brains
You
basically.
have women operating as men
Yeah,
in ways that they have no business operating as men in. Um, but then also we have completely blurred the lines of m- morality and decency.
yeah,
Like we've definitely done that. And if you're an enemy and you're attacking, you go for the men, and then you go after the women, and then it's easy enough to get to the children. So if in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s we let our men fall into degeneracy, then by the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, the women should be there. So then by the 10s, 20s, and into the 30s, the children will just be
right. Everybody, yeah,
popping out with an OnlyFans by the time they're 5. They won't want to be YouTubers anymore when they grow up. They want to be OnlyFans people.
right.
The brothels will staff themselves willingly with willing participants.
Yeah,
And that's not a future that I want at all. Point number one to make, my other point to make with this is that it has been happening for a very long time. Women have been taking advantage of young men for a very long time. I'm thinking of a song that came out in the 70s or 80s, Mrs. Robinson, right? It's playing in a back room of my brain right now. So it's not something new. It's not a new behavior that women are doing. It is just something that people are noticing more now, A, because of the internet, but then also B, because we have a subset of people who are actually men, but are pretending to be women, but still doing crimes and being charged as women. So we've become accustomed as a people to actually reading the headlines when it says woman arrested on sexual assault charges, right? We actually are like, was it actually a woman or was it a dude? Let me see. And we go and we look and we're like, oh shit, son, it was actually a woman. It was like a real lady this time. So it's a multifaceted issue that doesn't make it any less terrible or a thing that I want to be happening, but it's not a new bad thing that's happening. It's just something else that we should be learning to deal with.
yeah. Um,
Oh yeah, Stacy's mom, that's another one.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, no, it's definitely something that people pretend isn't a problem, but is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sure stuff like this happens much more often than people think it does.
Oh yeah, with the
It just
statistics
doesn't
only
get
come from
reported as
reported,
much.
right?
Yeah, 15-year-old kids that get molested by a 30-year-old woman don't usually report it because they don't think it was a problem.
Right, yeah.
At least not at that age. And
And
once they get older in life, they go like, "Oh, wait a minute, that was
then
kind of
it
inappropriate."
then it hits them and they're like, "Oh, that's a weird thing."
Yeah,
But what are you going to do about it,
yeah,
But that also, uh, yeah, it's a thing that's been happening for a long time. That doesn't make it any less terrible today when it happens than it did back then. It's just, we're at a point where we pay so much attention to everything going on all the time, that we know about stuff more.
yeah, for sure.
If you love your children, homeschool them.
Yes, absolutely.
I know that particular lady was a nurse, but there's, countless cases
Yeah,
of
honestly, the
parents doing weird shit.
most likely place your child is to get molested, other than at a family event by a creepy uncle somebody, is at school.
Yep. Yerp.
So okay, and then one last thing. I think JC sent this to us, and we have mentioned this is a clip, a Father Maudsley clip, and I know we've mentioned him on here before. And if you're not familiar with him, um, he was a guest on Avoiding Babylon. That's on their locals. You might be able to see that for free still. I don't know if they still have it out from behind the paywall. He was also on Catholic Unscripted,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little more intellectual, higher end show. So it's actually kind of interesting to hear him with people who are actually not saying like I really enjoy watching Avoiding Babylon. Just Anthony and Rob aren't like the most intellectual guys. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? They're more your everyday Catholic commentary, and it's good. It's good stuff. Like I'm not knocking them one bit. It is really good stuff. But
They're not writers though.
no, I enjoyed seeing Father Maudsley on Catholic Unscripted more, just because of the type of conversation
Type
it
of
was.
conversation was, yeah.
But it was still about the same thing. It was still about the Jews infiltrating the Catholic Church.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I will play this clip here. It's 1 minute. Oh no, it's 3 minutes. Sorry.
And then you get people starving to death in the prison camps. The Jewish way of fighting, and they end up blaming the Germans for it.
Make it like
Everything about the Holocaust, the Jews are revealing their own heart in the lies that they've said about the Germans.
And of course, now we have what's going on in Gaza, which is identical. It's exactly the same thing: starvation, denying them food, water, clothing, medicine.
Well, by the numbers, it's worse than 1948, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it like way worse by the thousands?
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's
Nakba of 1948.
Right. How many? I can't remember how many. That might have been 750,000 Palestinians that were evicted in 1948, and then today.
And what was the justification for that? Did Hamas exist back then?
Right. Right.
I know you were talking about getting conspiratorial. I'd like to get conspiratorial here for just a moment. If you look up on Google, and I have this up on my screen right now, if you ask when did the Holocaust start, it says 1933. And I was just thinking about some of the things you were showing in the 20s and 30s here. Now, in Chicago, during the World's Fair, there was a thing called the Century of Progress International Exposition. And this was 1933 during the World's Fair. During that World's Fair, this is like a historical YouTube channel, there was what was called a Jewish historical pageant at the World's Fair. Now, some people say this is like a play, this is like not serious, or they had a literal statue of Moloch that they brought out during the 1933 World's Fair, and they were worshiping this statue of Moloch, like dancing around the statue. This is real footage. This is not fake.
the opening
So this
ceremony of
worshipping
the
Moloch,
Olympics.
yeah, it's just unbelievable. But the Old Testament is full of it. In Leviticus, Deuteronomy, 3 and 4 Kings, Chronicles, Wisdom, they tell us how the surrounding nations around Canaan who were sacrificing their children to demons, that the Jews or the Hebrews were meant to go in and wipe them off the land so this never happened again. They then started imitating that, some of them. Wisdom 12 talks about them offering helpless children, even devouring men's bowels. I mean, really disgusting, with the kind of stuff that it goes on today. And it happened then, like 1500 years BC or 1000 BC.
That's why
King
the Jews
Solomon
convinced
started
the
doing
Protestants
it.
to take the Book
King
of Wisdom
Solomon,
out
who's
of the
supposed to be
Bible.
the wisest of men,
No Sirach for you.
ends up offering children to Satan, which proves that, in case anyone needed to know, he is not the Messiah, nor anyone else until Jesus Christ. But the fact that this stuff was going on of child sacrifice, and the Old Testament warns about it and warns that the Israelites and Jews some of them started practicing it. And it's happening today, then it's not far-fetched to believe with St. Simon of Trent, whose commemoration is today, that it was happening in the Middle Ages, as crucifying little boys as part of their very dark rituals.
Yeah. Father Maudsley's done a lot of research on this and written a lot of books about the Holocaust, the Jews, their infiltration of the Catholic Church, their history. It's really good stuff. I really recommend anybody go out and find anything with Father Maudsley. I know he has his own channel. He puts his own content out, and it's good stuff too. So look for his stuff. Go watch him on Catholic Unscripted. You can get it on. It's on YouTube. I can't believe the YouTube actually left that up, but it is on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a mystery.
Oh.
It's a mystery.
So yeah.
The
Father Maudsley good, Jews bad. That's the moral of the story here. Not that he needed to be told that. He's his father.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a Catholic. He's a traditional Catholic priest. How could he be bad?
Right. Okay. On the Father Maudsley front, I also think that any of our viewers would appreciate any of the interviews that he's done. The Catholic Unscripted one is really good.
Avoiding Babylon one was good. It was really good too.
The Avoiding Babylon one was good as well. And then on his own channel, there's also breakdowns of, a paper or a segment of a book, or he'll get a question frequently, and then instead of having to like explain it 1,000 times, he just puts out, a video explanation. He brings the receipts, he brings the Bible verses, he, has substantiated all of his claims.
Yeah.
And
if you like to read his books.
Yeah, and
absolutely read his books if you like to read.
As someone who's like put all the pieces, most of the pieces together myself, and just figured out that this is a tale as old as time, it's nice to have someone like Father Maudsley out there presenting it to the people, because I don't have the patience to do it. I'm like, how can you not see? How can you not see it? How can you not see it?
And then
right there.
And people are going to refuse to see it even when you show it. And then you're going to be like, now you're the bad guy. They're never going to listen to you. How dare you talk about the Holocaust and the Jews like that? 6 million people died. How dare you?
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I don't want to be that guy, So if there's somebody out there doing that, then I want to support them and tell other people to go watch them. So that way somebody else can be like, hey, why don't you check out this priest guy on the YouTubes?
Yeah. Yeah. Father Maudsley's great. There's a wealth of good information. Both on the Holocaust and Jews, and then just general Catholicism. He is a very good Catholic priest. Only does the traditional Latin Mass. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out his videos, his books, other interviews he's done. Can't get enough. You can't get enough Father Maudsley.
That is true.
Yeah,
I appreciate that more and more priests have a digital footprint.
Yes. Yeah.
I kind of
Father Ripperger and Father Maudsley. Thank God for both of them.
Right.
So, and Bishop Strickland.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, as much as I don't want like everybody to be doing it, I want more people to do it, because there needs to be different representations of Catholicism, because I think that like the average person thinks of Catholics and there's this one image they have of it, Mary worshippers, right? Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know what it is, but they have this like 17 kids, a lot of kneeling and standing. There's something about beads, there's, I don't know what they do, but the Catholic, right?
Yeah.
But within Catholicism, there's so many different ways that you can be a Catholic.
Yeah. You want to be a Thomist, a Franciscan, a Benedictine, you know what I mean? Like
there's so many facets to it all, that I think that's, that there needs to be more of a representation of the diversity within the Catholic Church.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we all agree on the basic dogmas and doctrines that you have to believe, but then you're free to express certain beliefs in one way or another on other things.
Right.
And it's interesting to see the different schools of thought and a lot of things.
If you're more of an intellectual, there's avenues for you.
Yeah,
If
then
you're
hang
more
out the
of
Thomists, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're more of like an active servant type of person, there's a whole swath of it for you.
Yep,
If
Benedictines. If you're more of a feel goods type of person and you're just, kind of flowery language and
Franciscans.
Yes, then you have
they say,
Franciscans.
what's up?
Yeah. Then Franciscan's good for you.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think that's, as we come across priests or maybe even some nuns here and there that have something decent, we're going to present them to you. We're going to suggest you go check them out.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that they, I don't know, some of them get hundreds of thousands of views, but the encouragement to like keep going, that's, we need more of that.
Yeah, like
we
if
need
you're
more clergy on the internet.
If you're the
We need
Franciscan
more
style and
influencers.
you're just more loving and just good feelingy kind of person, I'll be honest with you. I just lost his name. Father Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Father Casey is very Franciscan, very what most people might even call liberal. But I've watched 100 of that guy's videos. He's never crossed the line once. He's never crossed the line in the heresy. He's never said anything about, he's never disagreed with any actual doctrine of the Catholic Church.
He does a very good job of modeling the behavior of fixing your life to reflect God's word.
Right.
Not changing God's word to reflect your life, what you want.
Like he even went on a whole bit about how, yeah, guys, sorry, but homosexuality is a sin. And, it says in the Bible here, but, we can still be compassionate to these people. They need to give up their sinful ways, though, and come to the church. Like,
Yeah.
So, like, yes, he's very Franciscan, but he still does not cross lines. He's still very much
He's still
Catholic.
Totally fine saying the hard truth in a nice, kind, compassionate, loving type of way. Yeah.
So yeah, just because they're Franciscan doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't pay attention to them. They're just, they're more, I don't know,
hippy dippy a little.
A little hippy dippy, a little more in the feelings, but still Catholic doctrine. So
yeah, there's options.
Well, there's Franciscans that take it too far. Don't get me wrong. That's where the charismatic Catholic stuff comes in.
Yeah.
That's mostly from the Franciscan side. But no, there are still good Franciscan priests that you can listen to, have good things to say, like Father Casey.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if anybody's interested in that, his channel is Breaking In My Habit.
Breaking In the Habit?
Did he change it?
Habit?
It used to be Breaking In My Habit, but I thought last time I saw it said Breaking In the Habit.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's the last few ones that I've noticed it under.
If you're interested, look up either one.
Or just hit on the YouTube Father Casey.
Yeah.
It should come up.
So okay. Well, with that said, I think we are about done for the night. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover.
Yes, I got all my Faustina facts in.
Yeah, we talked a little conclave. We talked about stepmoms molesting their kids or stepkids.
Spirit of fornication.
Yeah.
Running amok.
Florida woman. Yeah.
Florida woman. Yes. Yes.
So, all right, guys. Well, Emily, you'll see here Friday.
I will be here Friday.
Emily will be Friday over on the Morning Crew channel.
Yes.
6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m.
Bring your coffee and come hang out.
All right. And then we'll be back Sunday for the third Sunday of Easter. Going over our mass readings and we'll probably talk about it'll be our very last RCIA class.
Yes, it will be.
So
it will be.
So yeah, we will
Are we watching a movie? Maybe, Jenny. Maybe. We could do a movie. We haven't watched a movie in a while.
So so with that being said, I'll see you guys Sunday. Emily will be here on Friday.
Yes.
Everybody have a wonderful evening. God bless all of you. We love you. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us tonight.
Love you guys. God bless you.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.